now. We the talk around town. Alex threw the ball to Smokey for a touchdown. It's fourth down and you don't really want no more. We've been winning from the door. You should check the scoreboard. Check the scoreboard.
Welcome back to the Scoreboard. It is week 15. We have a lot of games to go through. The bye weeks are over. I hope fantasy fans will be happy about that one. But Smokey, how are you personally doing?
Oh, man, I am good. Let's see, who am I better than this week?
Bucks.
Yeah, it's got to be the Bucks, right? Yeah, they got stomped out, and I'm already hearing rumors about Brady leaving the Bucks now. Like, you know, as soon as it goes downhill a little bit, he's out the door. What I don't get is all these fans making their wishes that he comes to their team. Brady is washed up. Like, I know y'all want it to not be so, but Brady's done. I don't think he comes back next year, and if he does, he's gonna be just as bad somewhere else.
I can think about 5 or 6 teams that would be a clear improvement with how he's playing right now.
I see a lot of Raiders fans. I don't know that that's an improvement, though.
Is it a clear improvement? I don't think so.
Yeah,
I really don't.
I don't either. Who do you think that he would be great for?
Presuming that Zach Wilson's done, the Jets, well, great for, not even be great for anyone, but I'm talking like who'd be an improvement for, like a clear improvement for the Saints. Maybe Carolina, the Jets, probably. Depending on what happens to Stafford, the Rams.
I don't know. Darnold's looking good though. I
Denver,
don't know, man.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Maybe the Panthers, maybe not. We'll see. They're still playing.
That would be crazy if he went to Denver and took Russell's job after 1 year.
Oof. I think Denver's had their fair share of veterans that drastically underperformed towards the tail end of their career, give them too much money. I don't think they're going to do that again. They'll probably go back to the to the draft. Well, also they won't be able to afford it because they have millions, hundreds of millions locked up in Russell.
Well, they gave up their draft picks too, so they're going to end up with a third rounder if they go for someone this year.
Yeah. Seattle's currently picking second overall and still competing for the playoffs at the same time.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. Hate to see it.
As far as our predictions, though, it was actually not quite as good of a week for me. We disagreed on 3. The Vikings-Lions, I actually got that one. The Ravens-Steelers, you got that one. You picked the Ravens. And the Panthers and Seahawks. I don't know how you saw that one coming, but I guess Sam Darnold is for real, and you got that one. Gives me 8 points on the week total and 9 for you. It brings the season total 133 for me and 130 for you.
That made up 1 point. Still 3 to go. But I'm really glad that the Panthers clutched that one out. I was believing. I really did.
Yeah.
In more than one way, that was a good outcome. Let's quickly go through the MVP rankings here, even though this segment's like almost like you're kind of reading a crystal ball here. I have really nothing to say about it all. I have some trend from last week, namely Jalen Hurts is kind of trending up, and Patrick Mahomes and Tua are kind of trending down, but still all 5 names that are in the mix are in the mix. For me, the ranking right now, and again, it shouldn't be in order, but if I have to put them in an order, it's Allen, Hurts, Burrow, Mahomes, Tua. You can mix and match them however you like. No judgment. What do you think?
I think Hurts is the clear favorite at the time. You know, I was reluctant to buy into it last week, but another dominant week. And you can say what you want about the Titans defense, but I'm sorry, not the Titans. Who did they play? They played
the Giants.
The Giants, yeah, it was Giants. I was thinking about the Jaguars for a second, but yeah, you can say what you want about the Giants defense, but it was just another dominant performance. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Hurts is the favorite for this thing.
Statistically speaking, he's definitely getting there, and he's up 3 spots in my ranking. The thing is, the one thing that irks me is still the term valuable, because compare how valuable Josh Allen is to the Bills versus how valuable Jalen Hurts is to the Eagles, and if you went by purely that metric, it's not really a question. But of course, Hurts is the more flashy player. Like, he's operating in a better offense, in a better run game. He's getting used in the run more. He's not forced to pass under pressure a whole lot. So It's still like if we're being strict in terms of valuable, I think actually in terms of value probably Tua should be above him, but he's had 2 bad games. He's missed 2 games.
Yeah.
And Mahomes too, actually. But I think everything can still happen. Everything's open. So we'll see how the rest turns out.
Do you think if they switch teams right now, let's say Allen goes to the Eagles, they're obviously 13-0, just blowing everyone out, and then Hurts goes to the Bills and he's more mediocre. Is that what you're saying?
The difference is probably not super big because both teams are very, very strong, but the Eagles are better. So I'm thinking Allen with the Eagles. I mean, the Eagles only. I mean, they're damn near undefeated. I think with Allen, yeah, sure. Why not? It's only like one more win. And what I mainly think is the numbers of the quarterbacks will be switched. Maybe not so much the teams, because the Eagles are playing a paper schedule. Every time I look up, they're playing a bad team. And the Bills, of course, are on a strong division, so maybe results wouldn't switch that much, but numbers probably would. I guess maybe the results would switch a little bit. What I'm trying to say is like Josh Allen has a bigger contribution to the overall Buffalo offense than Hurts has to the overall Philadelphia offense. I think that's pretty clear, and that's technically what valuable is about. But listen, I'm not even gonna debate this because it's all so close and so hazy, and I have no idea who's actually gonna win. I'm not gonna pick this hill to die on. No clue. I don't know what's gonna happen. We'll just watch the next games. Let's get into the week. First up, Thursday night, my favorite game ever, all the time. Niners at the Seahawks.
Well, it should be, and you guys are actually set up to win this. The Seahawks coming off a disappointing loss to a bad team in the Panthers, and maybe that is Sam Darnold. Who knows? We'll know when we get a few more games into the season here. The 49ers stomped out the Buccaneers, and it was great. Everybody stood up and gave a round of applause to the 49ers because they beat up on Brady and the Buccaneers, and Brady looked horrible. Yes, it was so great. It was wonderful to see. I love it. Now, Brock Purdy was... he had an oblique injury by the end of this game, but I haven't heard anything that he's going to be missing any time. But apparently that doesn't even matter. I mean, whatever Shanahan throws out there is going to perform exactly the same. That's how this team is built. Seahawks, on the other hand, maybe just hitting that downward spiral from not having a quarterback who is elite enough to carry a team completely into the playoffs like that. I mean, Geno's been great this season, but we all know that he's not an elite quarterback. One of these teams needs an elite quarterback to win. One of these teams does not. I will be taking the 49ers on the road.
Feels like Seattle came into the season, first half of the season, with a strong defense, and it's kind of eroding a little bit now, more and more. And they're starting to get kind of shaky and then lose these games. Now I'll say this is dangerous for 2 reasons. Number one, it's in Seattle, anything can happen. And number two, it's a must-win game for the Seahawks because this is effectively a division clincher, right? If the Niners win, it's for all intents and purposes, it's over. And Seattle is actually going to be on the back foot when it comes to even making the wild card round because suddenly, the Giants and the Washington Commies are still both on winning records. And the Lions are now knocking on the door. So Seattle has to win it. Of course, I'm not going to pick them to win it. I'd be mad to pick him to win it because Brock Purdy's clearly the best player to ever play. So I'm going Niners by let's say by 27 points. The spread is 3.5, by the way. I don't quite understand why the spread is 3.5. That seems a bit disrespectful.
Yeah,
I'm definitely taking Niners against the spread. Like by a field goal, come on. That's an easy bet for me, but make of that what you will.
I guess they're thinking about the 12th man, or as everybody likes to say up there in Seattle. Yeah.
No Deebo Samuel, unproven rookie quarterback. I get why,
True.
But man, no, Niners. Colts at the Vikings.
Yeah, what a disappointing run for the Vikings here. I mean, they're still a 10-win team, so this team is good regardless of what their defense is doing. And maybe this is just a symptom of the Lions actually putting things together and being that good, but it was a disappointing loss, and they just could not catch the Lions to save their life. The Lions got that offense running. The Colts are really bad. I don't even know what else to say. Like, no matter what quarterback you throw out there, whoever it is, the team is just bad. I don't think they're going to put anything together. They're probably going to try to regroup in the offseason again, At least Frank Reich is gone. I'll take the Vikings to put it back together and win this one at home.
It may seem like the Vikings are a little bit like the odd one out if you look at the sort of elite teams in the NFL right now. They're in the second seed, and they don't really feel like they belong there. If you match them up against any team in sort of the same, like, rarefied air, Vikings against the Eagles, Vikings against the Chiefs, the Bills, the Niners, feels like they kind of get blown out every time against all of these. So their record maybe is it actually looks quite a bit better than they are at this point, but they've had strong wins. I mean, they've beaten Buffalo, right? They've had those games where then they come back and kind of play weird and lose to Detroit. Now Colts are garbage. They've been bad all season, so this is absolutely a get right game for the Vikings, and I'm gonna say they get right and get it. But if not, we may have like a little small crisis moment. Because suddenly they're still in danger of falling to the 3 seed, not really in danger of falling to the 4 seed because the NFC South is so bad. But maybe you don't want to lose momentum going into the playoffs if you're the Vikings. So this is one you have to win. Ravens at the Browns.
Oh, this is interesting. Judging strictly off the record, you would say the Ravens have to win this one. But the quarterback situation is still up in the air because the backup is also injured now. Not only Lamar, but it's also Taylor Huntley. They are both injured, but I guess there's still a chance that Taylor's going to play. I haven't really looked into the injury news lately. But the Browns, on the other hand, could not quite put it together. They had a dominant win the week before, but then the Bengals just shut them down. They made an attempt to come back at the end, and Deshaun Watson tried to show out. He is showing flashes here and there, so I'm guessing he's going to knock the rust off eventually and get better as the season goes on and probably have a strong run next season. But as for right now, that makes this really tough. It almost feels like a toss-up. I will say that the Ravens' quarterback problems are too much, although J.K. Dobbins is probably going to carry the game anyway. You know what? I will give the 3 points to the home team and take the Browns.
It's a difficult one. I think Deshaun is what I said last week as well. Not only has he not played for 13 weeks, he also hasn't really practiced with the starters for 13 weeks. So he's way behind the 8 ball. He's getting better week by week, but so far he's been pretty underwhelming, and I don't think that he'll really get back to like his actual ability this season. I think maybe next year we'll talk about that again. For this one though, even though the situation, like the quarterback situation, be what it is, I think the Ravens are going to come into this a little bit more motivated than the Browns, because the Ravens, again, they are currently still leading the division, but the Bengals are red hot. So this is one you have to win if you're Baltimore, and you do not want to fall down to the wild card spot, because then suddenly you're probably playing Kansas City. If you're falling down in the wild card spot, you might be playing Kansas City, or you might be playing Miami, or Buffalo probably won't lose. Buffalo probably won't lose the division, but you're gonna have a tough draw in the playoffs suddenly if you don't hold this. So I'm going to take the Ravens. I'm going to take the risk of not really knowing the quarterback situation, but they're better coached. The run games look much improved. Ravens to win at Cleveland. Speaking of the Dolphins, they're playing at Buffalo.
I feel like this is just going to go different this time now. I still believe in Tua. He has had a rough couple of weeks, and when Tyreek Hill went out of that game, it looked like he wasn't able to complete anything for the sake of winning that game, and they didn't. And that's exactly how it played out. The Chargers got it in on them. And, I don't know, man. It just doesn't look like the explosive offense that we saw early in the season, and maybe it is just fatigue at this point. We've seen a lot of injuries. Tua's been injured and come back, so he could still be hurting for all I know. But the Bills have their own problems. Allen's been injured, and he hasn't stopped playing, but he's been banged up. I'll say he's been hurt. Injuries, you go out. When you're hurt, you still play. You know what? I think it's going to be different this time. It's going to be in Buffalo. I will take the Bills at home.
It was a super close game last time, remember, and it was like very early AFC Championship game we called it. Dolphins actually came out on top in that one, even though that was the game that Tua initially got hurt, leading to them losing the next 3. But I'm going to agree with you, actually. Tides flip. It's in Buffalo. Buffalo's currently got the momentum in this division, and they also have the lead in this division. I think they'll run away with it here. Dolphins still a dangerous team coming to the playoffs. They're on the slump. They're a little bit of a slump, and hopefully they'll catch themselves going into the playoffs, but this is not the right game to do it, so Buffalo to stick with it. Falcons at the Saints.
Desmond Ridder time. That's what it is. I can't wait to see this. I'm going to watch this game really closely. I want to see how Desmond handles his first start in the big leagues. I don't expect him to just come out and be dominant elite player right off the bat, but I want him to show some flashes in this game and take advantage of a Saints defense that has not really put it together the entire season. It's easy to take advantage of this defense, and Saints doesn't have a lot of offense to put up here, so I imagine with the quarterback change that Las Vegas is probably going to have this pretty close. So maybe I'm going out on a limb here, but I will take the Falcons to win this one on the road.
It is very close indeed. Saints get 4 points. So take the home field away, they get a single point. Probably the rookie quarterback effect, but we know how that can go as well. That can go the other side. Now, I really want the Falcons to win this, obviously, for the reason that I wouldn't mind if they actually made the playoffs. And by the way, you look up, the Buccaneers keep losing. They're like a game away, and they still get to play like in the division. So everything's possible. This is a tough one for me to pick. I'm not gonna lie, because I want Desmond Ridder to win, but I'm gonna go and actually pick the Saints. I'm gonna say that Ridder, even though he has high potential, he's gonna have a bad debut game, and he's gonna play maybe mediocre, not be really big of an upgrade at the moment over Mariota, and the Saints get it done. Because that defense, as much as the production is kind of lacking, they've mostly suffered from bad offense, is really the case, because they've been out in the field a lot. They've had to give up a lot of short fields. The defensive unit of the Saints generally is pretty good, so I'm going to say they actually get the better of the quarterback. Saints to win it. Steelers at the Panthers.
I don't like that prediction at all, by the way.
I know you don't.
Yeah.
You don't.
Two other bad teams. Tank Bowl number 2 here. And actually, the Falcons, neither one of these teams are tanking. The Falcons, the Saints, or the Panthers, because they're still in it somehow. Like you were saying, the Bucs are just that bad. Makes this one tough, though. The Steelers, Mitch Trubisky had to come into that game because, what was it, a concussion, I believe? What can he have?
I think it was a head injury. He was in concussion protocol for sure.
Yeah, I looked up and Mitch was playing. I was like, wow, why is he back there? But it makes this tough. The Panthers are coming off of a good win. You would think these teams are more equal than what it would appear, but I would say the Darnold, the quarterback change with Darnold being in there is probably motivating these guys. So as long as Mitch is playing, I will take the Panthers to win this one at home.
I have a fun fact that doesn't really relate to this game, but so far this season, we've had it twice that a quarterback comes in the middle of a game because the starter's taken out, comes in from the bench and throws 3 interceptions. The first time happened when Kenny Pickett came in for Mitch Trubisky for the Steelers earlier on. The second time happened when Mitch Trubisky came in for Kenny Pickett just last week, also for the Steelers, in the same season. Only 2 times that's happened this year. Unfortunate. For this game, Peterman. Yeah, exactly. If Peterman came in, maybe then we'd have another one.
Yeah.
For this game, I'm gonna go Carolina all the way. They have a better defense to me. They can run the ball, and Darnold's playing well. Quarterback uncertainty in Pittsburgh. I think this is Panthers all the way. In fact, I'm gonna take them because it's basically a coin flip. I'm probably going to put money on them as well. They're getting 2.5 points at home. I think they should have more. So definitely Panthers. Eagles at the Bears.
Listen, I know that no one is expecting what I'm about to say, but I think this game's going to be a shootout. I think the Bears coming back off of their bye are going to be rested up. They have weapons out there on the field. They have a good running back unit. They have some capable receivers. They have a quarterback who is ascending and getting better and better each game, and they are close to winning games. I know the Eagles are dominant. That defense looks good, and the offense can put up as many points as you need. So I do think the Eagles are going to win this game, but I think this is going to turn into a shootout. It's going to be a lot of running, a lot of quarterback running. This is going to be a good game to watch. It's probably one of my favorites of the week to watch, but I will take the Eagles on the road.
This is the kind of game where they might just like remove their face masks and also uninvent the forward pass and show the game in black and white. Because there's not going to be a whole lot of passing going on in this one. This is going to end quickly, and it's a lot of running. Bears obviously pure run team. Eagles about as pure of a run team as it gets if they're allowed to be. So I'll take the team that's been better at running, which is the Eagles, and also much better at actually stopping the run themselves and playing defense. Eagles, absolutely, all the way. Chiefs at the Texans.
The Texans almost did it. You actually called that. You were like, this is the game that seems like they could upset what some people were, the number one power rankings, and some people had them. The Cowboys were dominant up to that game, and here the Texans almost beat them. They came right down to the end there. It looked bad for the Cowboys for quite some time in that game. Chiefs, on the other hand, gave up way too much to the Broncos. That game should not have been happening like that. It looked like the Broncos could pull this off also. It would have been crazy if we were talking about the Broncos and the Texans winning those two games and just tearing the house down there. I don't know. There's no reason the Texans should be in this game. They are tanking. Maybe that's the only reason they lost that game. Who knows? But Chiefs on the road.
Yeah, listen, the Texans are not going to do this again. This was the best game they've played this season. Should have just scored when you're inside the 5 with 5 minutes to go. Make it 2 scores. Just score. You pick it off in the red zone. I mean, just score and you're good. But no, you give up a 98-yard drive. Either way, Dallas can be proud of that one. About as proud as it gets. It's kind of like the metaphor that I like to use is there is like you have like a professional wrestler who's really proud of like winning a 15-minute hard-fought struggle against like a middle schooler kind of thing. Like it takes him everything, and he's like, "Yeah, I still got it," kind of thing. That's how it felt.
Yeah.
Chiefs to win. Texans aren't gonna live up to this again, and Patrick Mahomes probably gonna be pretty mad about playing his worst game of the season, maybe almost losing to Denver, and kind of being matched up by Russell Wilson like the whole way. And then Russell got hurt, and they kind of just sneak by with the win. So he's gonna let out some frustrations, I think, on the Texans. So Chiefs on the road. Cowboys at the Jaguars.
Yeah, you would think the same thing for this game, but after last week, I believe this is going to be a really close game. This could turn into a shootout also. I mean, there are a better defense in play here, so don't expect the Jaguars to put up 40 or anything like that, but I do think it's going to be a close match. What did they put up, 36 against Titans? Titans have a horrible defense. It's not going to happen like that with the Cowboys, but it was kind of weird to see the Texans even put 23 on this defense. So they are beatable against, not so great offenses, but the Jaguars have a decent offense. Trevor Lawrence is playing very well. He's ascending like he should, and probably in the next season and a few seasons to come, Trevor Lawrence is going to be a dominant quarterback, probably put his name in the elite category. But as far as this one, the Cowboys, I want to say that was just a fluke, and the Cowboys should return to dominance, and I'll take them on the road here.
That was on thin ice for Dallas, and I think it'll actually come back to bite them, the fact that they did not get punished for what happened. They won and they'll feel good about themselves, and it's the whole middle schooler barely losing to a professional wrestler kind of thing. I think this was not the wake-up call that Dallas needed, and I think that the wake-up call is coming this week, because I'm taking Jacksonville. I'm going to say this is it. This is my upset. This is my weekly upset pick. Jaguars win it. They've played very well. they've gotten steadily better throughout the season. Trevor Lawrence is actually just a better quarterback now than Dak Prescott in the way they've been performing. I'm going to say he gets it done against a defense that didn't look too great against the Houston Texans with the quarterback rotation of Davis Mills and Jeff Driscoll, which no one would have expected. So, a properly organized offense should do a lot more damage to this Cowboys defense. And I think this is going to be the wake-up call that Dallas needs. Jacksonville at home. Lions at the Jets.
Interesting. Well, the Lions are a dominant team. If you took the last 5 game sample out of this, man, the Lions are amazing. The Lions are a Super Bowl team. If it was only that sample size right there, they are one of the best in the league over the past 5 games. The Jets can't seem to get out of their own way. Now, I don't understand. You benched Zach Wilson. And this game, when Mike White gets injured, you bring in Joe Flacco instead of putting Zach Wilson back in. Do they really believe that Flacco fumbles every time he gets a sack? Like, I think Zach Wilson
wasn't actually on the active roster for that game. I don't know if he starts.
They made him inactive though. But
yeah, he wasn't even active.
Right? You think he was injured though?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Like they should have made Flacco inactive.
You'd think so, yeah.
Yeah, and had Zach Wilson as the backup. You would think. But either way, that's what they did. They can't get out of their own way. I mean, they're putting up 12 points against the Bills, which the Bills are a dominant team, and they didn't need a lot to beat them. The Lions are going to continue their winning streak and take this one on the road.
I do agree with that take. Lions have been looking strong. They're knocking on the door of the playoffs. The door of the playoffs is slowly closing on the Jets, so maybe they'll feel some urgency, but I'm going to say Detroit. I'm more convinced by Jared Goff's playing really well, and that offense is firing, so Lions take it. Cardinals at the Broncos.
Yeah, this is an interesting one also. I'll tell you this, I was looking back, and that post-hype sleeper trend that I want to say I discovered it, but I'm sure other people have noticed that also.
You've coined the term.
Yeah, it plays out this way almost every single time. I can't even recall the last time it didn't happen. You have a team that is supposed to perform and they underwhelm one season. They come back the next season, they're deemed the post-hype sleeper, and they have a dominant run and usually fall apart in the playoffs, you know. And then the next season after that, they fall apart again. It always happens that way. And here we see in the Cardinals, they are horrible. They have fallen apart. The Broncos put up a fight against the Chiefs, so you got to think that this team looks a little better. Now it is up to Russell Wilson if he's going to play or not, because what's the backup's name out there?
Ripien?
Yeah, Ripien. Brett Ripien. I don't think they can win if he's going to be playing here, but we got Colt McCoy in there, but I mean Colt is better than Ripien. But I'll say that Russell gets healthy. We'll take the Broncos at home.
I would have loved to see Kyler actually play against his pro comparison in Russell Wilson. Yeah. Back when we thought highly of both of them. It would have been a fun matchup to see two quarterbacks together combined for 11 feet and 6 interceptions in a random. I'm gonna go and take Denver in this one. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna stick with Denver, but I'm thinking maybe Kyler being out actually gives me more confidence in Arizona for some reason, because they didn't look too bad with Colt McCoy. Mm-hmm. At least when they didn't against the Niners, that was a blow up. But other than that, he's been serviceable, I want to say, and he actually won that game against the Rams. But I'll go with Denver. They've had their best game. Maybe they're kind of catching it. Maybe they're gelling a little bit. On the offensive side, the Cardinals are terrible, and it's, as always, great entertainment on Hard Knocks. So Denver to win. And lower that draft pick of Seattle's down by a spot or two. I wouldn't mind. Patriots at the Raiders.
Yeah, what Raiders are going to show up here? The Raiders that were winning, maybe that was the crying on the podium 2-game bump. And when that was over, the Raiders just go back to being horrible again. Maybe that's what that was. There's
a lot of bumps. There's a lot of bumps at this point.
Yeah, exactly. But after he did that, they won the next 2 games, and then they went back to being really bad. They lost to the Rams, on an island game. Everybody saw you lose a horrible game to the Rams and their quarterback issues. Man, that was just a bad game. That was not worth watching. I wish there were some other games they could have put on that island. But the Patriots here, coming off of a win. I think we're going to get the bad Raiders once again because we know that Belichick knows how to shut down offenses. I'll take the Patriots on the road.
Not only did the Raiders lose to the Rams, who are awful, by the way, they lost to a 2-day tenured quarterback whose first name is also his highest job qualification on 2 game-winning drives in the fourth quarter. Only the Raiders can lose that game. And I'm gonna say I hate both teams, the Rams and Raiders. I don't really care. It's fun to watch, like calamity occurring. So I'm totally cool with it. Maybe it'll even coax the Rams into selling in, like really buying into Baker for like the future, which would be the best thing that could possibly happen to me. But for this one, Patriots look good. They won the game. They won it on defense, and that's how they win games. That's how they're going to win this game because the Raiders don't get anything done. This is like the absolute peak of organized team that knows what they're doing versus chaos, and see what happens. So Patriots to win at Vegas. Titans at the Chargers.
Oh, man. The Chargers looks like they're putting something together at times. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop and for them to fall off again because I don't think they're... I mean, you would think they're a dominant team if they beat the Dolphins, right? But then the Dolphins are also bad. But the Titans are really bad. I expect the Chargers to put up tons of points in this game because that defense is horrible. Now, the Titans are going to respond, and Derrick Henry is going to run all over the Chargers. That's inevitable. So the Titans are going to put up a lot of points. I think this is closer to a toss-up than you would expect. So I will take the Chargers with the 3-point bump at home.
I think this is a toss-up because I've learned not to trust the Chargers defense because there's so many players injured. They got so many backups on the field. But then they held Tua and this like unstoppable offense to their second worst game all season, which is hard for me to fathom how that happens. But I don't know if they can they replicate that now reliably, because if they can, then listen, they are a serious threat to the AFC because Justin Herbert is absurd. Like, he is incredibly good. If this team can play up to the level they did, the Chargers are a real threat. I'm going to say they keep riding the wave and they get it done. I'm going to trust Justin Herbert to have another brilliancy. Beat the struggling Titans, not only defensively, offense actually too, because Ryan Tannehill more and more looks like he's on his way out. Is it going to be Malik Willis next year? Are they going to trade for someone? Is Aaron Rodgers coming to Tennessee? We'll see. But Derrick Henry's not going to get it done by himself, and A.J. Brown's sorely missing in that offense, so I'll take the Chargers. Bengals at the Bucks.
That was an interesting thought you brought up, though. Aaron Rodgers might be headed to the Titans.
Not originally my idea. I will say I picked it up on some podcast. I would love to give credit. I don't know which one it was. I listened to a lot of them, but
yeah,
not originally my point. Still, I like it.
Yeah, Bengals are headed in an upward trajectory while the Bucks are circling the toilet headed on a downward spiral. That was really bad. I mean, it was a wonderful sight, as I mentioned earlier. I can't thank the 49ers enough for doing that. Yeah, the Bengals, their offense is humming. Whatever the problem is with second receiver, Jesus, I am having a problem with names today. The one behind Jamar Chase, Higgins. Whatever problems they're having with that, though, they don't need it because they have a litany of receivers that can go out and get it. Plus, their running game is awesome. The running game is going to be tested by this Bucs defense because they are still one of the best running defenses in the league. But as we saw, a power run game like the 49ers have can run over them when you get creative with it. So I will take the Bengals on the road.
I think Tom Brady had more referee complaints than completions in the first half of that game. It was hilarious to see him like turn around and complain about something every single snap when either he threw an incompletion or he got hit. every single time, and it like constantly not getting the calls consistently. I think that threw him off a little bit there, but yeah, I want to say everybody, you're welcome for that, and thank Brock Purdy for one of the best games I've ever seen, like entertainment wise and satisfaction wise for sure. As for this one, I want to highlight one thing. As much as we talk about Burrow and Chase and T. Higgins and then Joe Mixon's going, the Bengals defense is looking really good, and they are getting better. This is a complete team. Now we know the offensive line is still kind of patchy, and that's the same it was last year. But last year they did win the AFC Championship with that offensive line, so we know what the rest of the team can do, what it's capable of. So Bengals look good. Bengals to me are the favorite in that division, and I'm going to take them to win at Tampa Bay. Giants at the Washingtons.
Yeah, this was a tie a couple weeks ago, huh? I don't think we're going to see that again. I mean, maybe it would be really brave if you pick a tie here, and it actually happens again. That would be amazing, and I'd give you 2 points if you do that, but...
Only 2 points? I'll do it if I get 10.
10? Oh, God. That's a lot of points.
If I get it, that's an instant win.
That would almost guarantee your win if you pulled that one off.
True.
Oh, man. I would go 5 points.
I'm not desperate enough to do that yet. It's too many weeks left. I'm not doing it.
All right, but that would be crazy if it happens all over again. That would be amazing. It would be fitting for this division to not catch another loss this week, but... I think it's going to be more of the same. I think these two teams are going to battle it out to the very end, and it's going to be really close. And I actually think that the Giants will pull it out this time. And there's no special reason. I think these teams are so even. But the Giants have a extremely slight edge, in my opinion. So I will take the Giants on the road.
Even if this is a tie, remember the division still doesn't go undefeated because the Cowboys are going to get beat in Florida.
Oh yeah, you picked the Jaguars, yeah.
A guy with the Florida name and the Florida haircut on the same weekend. So that's not going to happen either way. I'm going to take the Washingtons. I'll take the Washingtons to get it done. The Giants feel like they're kind of just falling. They're kind of falling off now. They might actually be the odd one out when it comes to rounding up the NFC playoff picture. If indeed Seattle or the Lions decide to come back and knocking on that door, it might be at the expense of the New York Giants. Because, well, they can't really seem to find footing within their division so far. It got beat handily by the Eagles, and I think it's going to happen again here, so Washington to take it. Finally, we have yet another brilliantly scheduled primetime game on Monday night, the Rams at the Packers.
Yeah, maybe this is just to display Aaron Rodgers' new home next season.
Ooh.
That's a possibility.
Ooh, I don't want that.
Yeah, you might be happy about that one.
Yeah, no thanks. Baker Mayfield, please. Baker's fine.
Yeah, I bet. I don't think the people of LA are happy about that, though. Like, who is really clamoring for Baker Mayfield? I heard some Panthers fans before this season who were actually happy about it because the Panthers were in such dire straits. But it didn't work out, and they wanted him gone instantly. And I think everyone's learning from that. No one wants Baker Mayfield. But you do want Aaron Rodgers. So that's something that could work out, you know, if Stafford does decide to hang it up after this season, which is a real possibility at this point. He might just do the Andrew Luck. He's got his Super Bowl win. It might happen. On the other side, the Packers are coming back. They are at home. I think Aaron Rodgers is fired up because aren't they statistically still capable of getting into the playoffs?
They are, yeah.
Yeah, so
they are.
That's the motivation for this. The Rams are not going to make the playoffs, no matter what. No matter what Baker does, they're not making the playoffs. Packers at home.
It's a tough pick, but I will agree with you. They come off the bye week, and they are at home. It's Baker and Aaron Rodgers. At some point, you have to just go with what makes sense and take the Packers. I don't really think that they believe in their own playoff chances, to be completely honest. I think that went out of the window when they lost that game to Detroit 3 weeks ago. But this is more of a I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm playing Baker Mayfield, let me beat Baker Mayfield in my own house kind of thing. more than a playoff thing. But man, what's with the scheduling of these like primetime games?
I know, it's horrible.
Dud after dud. You get the Colts and the Steelers. You get the Rams and the Packers. I guess they expected all these teams to be good. And like fair enough, both of those teams made deep playoff runs last year. You'd think they'd be good.
They flex it though.
Yeah.
They have that ability.
For a long time. And this was a long time coming. Like we knew this was gonna be bad.
Yeah.
You have the Dolphins and Bills sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
Put that into a late. I guess you want to play late night games on the East Coast. I get it, but you're in Green Bay anyway, so it doesn't like to put a good game into this. I don't know whether or not. I don't know why they're not doing it. I have no idea. Actually, you know what? I don't mind because usually I don't get to watch the Monday night game live because of school, and it's like in 2 a.m. for me. This kicks off, so. I don't mind. I'm not missing much. If this was the Dolphins Bills, I'd miss much. So this actually, I'm completely fine with it. Packers to win it. No more bye weeks this week, and that's all our picks. So, any word on the fantasy side of things?
Yeah, definitely. Not a lot of game theory going into the playoffs because you either made the playoffs or you didn't. And I hope you're sticking around if you did not make the playoffs because that's how you become a better fantasy football player for the future. But most people do not once it is out of reach. They just hang it up for the year and they stop setting their lineup. It's horrible. But we'll run through the news. We'll run through some playoff strategy. We will run through some injuries and preparing for next week because you want to be ready when you go into those finals for your playoffs.
I have a question. Do you ever actually like think further ahead than the current round when you're thinking about like maybe this is something you should address at some point at the Hurry Up office, or this exceeds the boundaries of this particular show? But do you think maybe ahead to the potential finals of your fantasy when you're thinking about who to pick up on the waivers, maybe 3-4 weeks prior to that? Say, the final week of fantasy football, this guy has a really good matchup. This is the receiver. The receiver has a really good matchup, even though maybe during week 15, 16, he does not.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
So that goes into it.
Yeah, definitely. Now, there are certain situations also, like my Dynasty League, I have the bye because I finished second, and first two places get the bye week, so I can definitely look forward for that. And the ones that have 2 week per round playoffs, you definitely need to look forward for that. But my first priority is always make sure you win this week. Even if you are set for the playoffs, you still want that seeding. You want, if you can get a bye, you want that. If it comes down to points, let's say you finish with the same record as someone else, they're going to give it to the guy with the points going into the playoffs. So always make sure you win this week. But absolutely, for your bench and things like that, you can look ahead and look through the playoffs. And if you are sure, like the 2 week round playoffs, if you like, I've got one where I'm ahead by like 60 points already going into the second week of that round. And at that point, I can almost say, yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't want to set a bad lineup, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to win that, so I can start looking forward to the next round and the championship.
So one game at a time, but strategizing ahead.
Absolutely.
Also relevant, maybe to next level. Cool. Everybody interested in fantasy football, definitely go check out the Hurry Up Offense conducted by this professional fantasy player, Smokey. So it's free advice, 15 minutes. Used to be 10, now it's 15. Extra content, 30% more free fantasy advice. I guess that's the way to market that, huh? So definitely go check that out. Coming up on this channel as well on a Thursday before Thursday night kickoff, so you'll have time to set your lineup. Other than that, do you have anything to add for today?
Yeah, I got 2 really quick questions right now. We're headed into the latter part of the season here. Who you got, Hutchinson or Thibodeau?
I like that Walker isn't even an option. I got Aiden Hutchinson. I think he's better run defender, and I think he's making more impact plays. Now I know that some of his sacks actually came in bulk. If you notice, he had one game. I remember the opponent, but he had 3 sacks in one game. And I think he's making more of the impacts. Both, of course, very promising players. But Aiden Hutchinson was my number 1 coming out. And I have no idea why the Jaguars didn't pick him, because he was just a better pass rusher. And I guess championship bias extends past quarterbacks now. But that's my pick for now. I think he's the defensive rookie of the year. Either him or Sauce Gardner. It's between the two.
Yeah, Sauce Gardner's a good one too. Did you say Walker? Like, yeah, I mean, I would like it if Walker won, but is there anybody else on the offensive side other than Kenneth Walker?
I meant the pass rusher.
Yeah, I know.
But
I know.
yeah,
number one overall pick. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Other than Kenneth Walker, I mean, like, is there anyone on the offense other than Brock Purdy, if we're being completely honest?
I don't think that's happening, but
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably.
Especially
probably
not starting until week 14.
I had hopes for Drake London for a while. Like, he had good showings, but I don't know. Kenneth Walker, he's been such a big part as a rookie running back for the Seahawks, and the Jets unfortunately lost their rookie, so that would have been some competition. Other than that, I mean, quarterback's not really that relevant this year.
Yeah.
So that's probably what we'd be looking at. He should be the favorite, and we'll do an episode on this, I guess, during like the bye week or something.
Yeah.
When we actually predict these NFL honors, but I think that's what we're looking at. It is a Seahawk. Hate to see it, but probably it. Maybe Brock Purdy can do it if he wins out, like puts 50 on Seattle this week, and like maybe he can clutch it out in the end. I kind of doubt it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm going Kenneth Walker for now. That was the two things.
That was it. Just wanted to get
Good
that
point.
in.
Actually, if you have opinions on that, leave us those as well. I'd like to hear some ideas on the NFL awards, because we're getting close to it being that time, and the MVP is still up in the air completely, but maybe some other ones a bit more locked in. So opinions on that, please. Also opinions on these games. Please back me up on the Dallas pick. I need Jacksonville to win this one, and I need all the good juju I can get for this one. So. Please agree with me there. Also, you can vote for the MVP as always. Difficult pick, but maybe it makes the opinion matter even more. So go ahead and do that, and we're gonna see you in the next one.
Deuces.
Check the scoreboard. Ha. Check.